Today, it's an honor to welcome Chancellor Kohl. This marks his 6th visit to us as leader of the German Federal Republic. He and his fellow citizens are friends and partners with whom we share a desire for peace and a commitment to the principles of human freedom. Our nation's solid bilateral ties, our resolve to maintain the viability of the Western Alliance, and our dedication to the values and ideals which are the underpinning of political and economic freedom have been a great boon to the German and American peoples. The great German writer, philosopher Gotthold Lessing once wrote, "Nothing under the sun is ever accidental." For 40 years of European peace have been no accident. The good fortune can be traced to a great degree to the solidarity and cooperation between our two peoples and governments. When a buildup of intermediate-range missiles by our adversaries threatened the peace, our alliance was put to the test. Chancellor Kohl and his government stood firm in the face of a well-orchestrated international and domestic propaganda campaign aimed at paralyzing our ability to respond. The deployment, however, of weapons is not an end in itself. It is a means to an end. What we seek is the security of our countries, the freedom of our peoples, and the peace of the world. Our strength of purpose, as well as our military might, are vehicles in the search for a lasting peace. Chancellor Kohl's visit comes at an opportune time. I look forward to discussing with him my recent meetings with General Secretary Gorbachev and subsequent events. There is, as I will explain, ample reason for optimism. Whatever progress is made, it will be based on the solid foundation Germans and Americans have built together, particularly in the last half-decade. 3 years ago, I presented a plan which would have reduced American and Soviet longer-range INF missiles to zero globally, thus called the zero option. Building on the diplomacy of interceding years, as well as the deployment of our crews and Pershings, General Secretary Gorbachev and I came close in Iceland to reaching an agreement that would have drastically reduced these missiles on both sides. We are now striving to build upon the progress achieved in Reykjavik. And it should not escape anyone's attention that the Soviet Union and the United States are now seriously talking about reducing offensive weapons. This is a giant step forward from the time not so long ago when arms talks merely put a cap on weapons at high levels, permitting the building of more missiles and more warheads. When the next agreement is finally reached with the Soviet Union, and I say when, not if, it will not be the result of weakness or timidity on the part of Western nations. Instead, it will flow from our strength, realism, and unity. Our allies in these last few years have withstood intimidation and brazen interference in their domestic political processes. Our adversaries misjudged individuals like Chancellor Kohl and the other leaders of the Western democracies. Under intense pressure, they did what was necessary, held firm, and because of their fortitude, the free world is now neither vulnerable nor subservient. The record of the European peoples is long and glorious. In so many ways, Europe is the cradle of modern civilization. The indomitable spirit demonstrated by our European neighbors and allies in the post-war era, from the Berlin airlift to our solidarity leading to my recent meetings in Iceland, has made the difference. The tide has been met, the tide turned, and the flow of history is now on the side of the free. We in the West are now engaged in a great technological revolution in medicine, electronics, physics, and so many fields of human endeavor. More has been discovered in the 20th century than in all the preceding centuries put together. Our scientists at this moment are making great strides toward developing technology that can protect mankind against ballistic missiles, and that protection applies to the United States, our allies, and yes, even our adversaries, if need be. A purely defensive system that makes these missiles ineffective also makes them more negotiable. A defensive system makes an arms reduction agreement more likely because it offers protection against cheating. This, and not trust, will lead to reducing and, we hope, ultimately eliminating the nuclear arsenals that now threaten all humanity. If a defensive system was not a viable option, the Soviet Union would not be committing so much of its own resources in developing and deploying strategic defenses of its own. Technology can open up new doors to peace and security. And that's what our Strategic Defense Initiative is all about. The time has come to rechannel the efforts of some of our best minds to develop tools which can be used to maintain peace, tools that protect rather than kill. The United States stands ready, as I assured Mr. Gorbachev in Iceland and reaffirmed today, to negotiate seriously about safeguards that will enable the Soviet Union to share in the benefits of strategic defense. What we in the West have done to rebuild our strength and revitalize our alliance has guaranteed the peace. But a lasting peace cannot be based simply on an arms agreement. Better relations must include more and open, freer contacts between people and governments, a respect for human rights, and an end to those regional conflicts that continue to plague mankind. Chancellor Kohl and the German people have been steadfast in their support and in their friendship for many years. They know as we do that our destinies and those of all free people are tied. We strive for a free, secure, and prosperous world, a world at peace, and we do it together with our friends and allies, the German people. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome Chancellor Helmut Kohl, a partner, a colleague, and a friend.